Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in and get comfy. I am so excited that you are here and that we're together for this training, Born to Make an Impact. Here, you will learn to establish yourself as an authority in your industry. This training is exclusively for seasoned subject experts. So if you're not seasoned and you found your way here, welcome. I would have done the same thing. Before we dive into today's training, I have a sense that we have some first-time guests with us today. So I want to be sure to give you a proper welcome. I want to be sure to set the stage so that you know what to expect during our time together in this training. So let's go over some housekeeping details. I invite you to be an active participant during this training. This means go ahead and ask questions in the comments, shout amens, just so I know that you are feeling what we are giving and that it is aligning with where you are in this current season of your life, as well as your career or your business. I also encourage you to have a journal for note-taking. It is so important for the retention of all that we are going to be covering during this training. When you hear something that resonates with you or that speaks to you, number one, definitely write it down, but also let us know in the comment section. I also encourage you to grab your phone, take a picture or even a boomerang, and post that to your social media story and tag me at @Margot Blair. If you have a question or you would like additional clarity, go ahead and drop that in the comments. And what that'll allow us to do is myself or my team will be able to go back and give you feedback or respond to your questions. I also want to share that we are on a mission to get this training positioned to elevate in front of as many women and organizations who serve women as possible. So at any point during this training, if there is an individual or a representative that comes to mind who you know could benefit from this training experience, feel free to connect us or send them to the registration link so that we can go ahead and get this training to them as well. For now, I want us to introduce ourselves. So in the comments section, take a moment to share these three things. First, share where you're currently located. Secondly, briefly mention what brought you to this training, Born to Make an Impact. Lastly, I'd love for you to share why this training is timely for you. Consider or feel free to even mention a challenge that you're currently facing in your personal or professional life that led you to Born to Make an Impact training. Ultimately, I want to thank you for sharing these three details in the comments because it's important, especially in this digital world we're living in now, for you to be able to meet and connect with other women who have found themselves here in this training because they too are on their journey because they know they are born to make an impact. Before we dive in, I have to share this with you. I was having some conversations with other women and women I know to be subject matter experts, and one thing continued to come up. And I have to share that comparison selection typically doesn't work. We'll talk more about comparison selection a little bit later, but what I'll say for now is that comparison selection is looking at what other people are doing rather than focusing on what we have. So again, comparison selection typically doesn't work. However, I still see seasoned subject experts with years of knowledge and experience trying to establish their industry authority by focusing on what other industry leaders are doing or not standing out as an authority in their industry at all. That's why I am so passionate about the impact maker method, which you'll learn about today. You see, I've tried replicating the steps of the online gurus and even doubted that I had what it takes to make a transformative impact in the lives of others. I want you to know that today I'm free and I lead as an authority in my industry. I do what I do, teaching others to leverage their skills and their experiences in order to use them to teach others, because it's so important to show seasoned subject experts who are born to make an impact the ways to establish themselves and stand out as an authority leader in their industries as well. With this, I want to share a quote from Henry Ford. Ford said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." Through this training, if you currently have the belief that you can't, my prayer is that the lessons and the exercise throughout this training will shift something for you specifically. Let's dive in. In recent years, healing and personal development is said to be a priority for many people who are looking to elevate in their personal and professional lives. After being tired of running from my own life assignment, I knew that it was time to do my part to proactively develop, teach, and equip women in the areas of personal development, authority leadership, and strategic partnerships. So whether you're new to me or we've been connected for some time, you are likely here attending Born to Make an Impact for one of four reasons. The first reason you may be here is that you know God has a vision and an assignment for your life, but something is interfering with you fully surrendering to God. I understand this challenge because it's this battle between knowing you have been aware of God's assignment for your life, yet you need help to determine what your first next step should be. Ultimately, you're either afraid to take that next step or you're unsure of what that next step actually is. The second reason you may be here today is that you have been looking for the blueprint to establish yourself as an authority in your industry without being left to figure out everything on your own. The way I look at this is that you want to bypass the stages of what I call analysis paralysis. And you want to learn the strategies from someone who has already achieved what you are working toward in this current season of your personal and professional life. You want to do this rather than figuring out all of the things on your own, or without having to hire another coach whose teachings don't align with your core values. Again, I get this one as well. And the third reason you may be here today is that you are ready to invest in the person you want to become and the woman God has predestined you to be. If this one speaks to you, it's likely because you have several pieces of your puzzle and you're ready to invest into the person you want to become, so that you can identify the steps to put God's plan for your life into play. But again, there's also a fourth reason you may be here today, and that is a combination of all three. You may be experiencing a combination of all three. And this means that you are here because you want the action steps to take your years of expertise and establish yourself as an authority in your industry. So I want to invite you to drop a 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the comments to best describe the reason you are here with us today. Assuming that one of these responses for showing up today resonates with you, this means that you are in the right place. As we dive into our discussion around being born to make an impact and establishing yourself as an authority in your industry, I want to be sure that we establish some common ground with a biblical basis for our training. The anchor text is Matthew chapter 25, verses 15 through 18. And I like reading the Amplified translation for this one, where we read about the parable of the talents. In this text, we learn of 3 individuals who were given the responsibility to steward a specific amount of talents, or in this context, money. The one who was given 5 talents doubled his portion. The one who had 2 talents doubled his portion as well. However, the one who received 1 talent was afraid of losing what he had. He didn't go and ask for wisdom from the others who had doubled their portion. He chose to bury that 1 talent. When the master returned and took inventory of the outcome, the one who buried the talent had to give up that 1 talent to the individual who doubled his portion. Why is this important? I want you to put this biblical basis of the parable of the talents in your back pocket as we continue our discussion, understanding that you are born to make an impact. So you don't have to live in fear. You don't have to hide your gifts. You don't have to operate in a space of mediocrity or complacency. It's important for you to learn to use what you have in your hands. The purpose of this training is designed to prepare you and get you in position to establish yourself as an authority in your industry, using your ideas and your intellect. By the end of this training, you will have what you need to get started on your authority leadership journey. Essentially, the way I look at it is that you will have an outline of your vision. By the end of this training, you may wonder if you can do this on your own, or if you have to invest into something. I'll tell you now, yes. You can take what you learned from this training and then attend Google or YouTube University, or hire a coach or another consultant, and you may very well see results. Or you can learn about an invitation to work with my team and I to build out the vision that you have for your professional life. I wanted to tell you this in advance so that you weren't blindsided, or so that you can begin contemplating and be prepared to make an informed decision by the end of this training. Our goal is to help you clarify your vision, to teach you to simplify your signature framework or method, as well to show you how to get your clients raving about you. And we'll conclude this training with an analysis for you to determine whether you are ready and willing to take the next step on your authority leadership journey. I think it's also important to introduce myself. So, hey, I am your host and facilitator, Margot Blair. I am so excited that you are here. I am your facilitator, Margot Blair, and I develop women at the intersection of faith and business. As a seasoned and certified personal and leadership development consultant, I have studied the psychology behind personal and organizational leadership development for over a decade. Today, I have the incredible honor of equipping and working with organizations, business leaders, and women from around the globe. A lot of the work that I do focuses on adaptive leadership, designing partnership campaigns, client retention strategy, authority and thought leadership. But what's near and dear to my heart, I like those things that I do them really well. But what has a really, really special place in my heart is being able to teach women and introduce them to a biblical personal development approach. Now, I can go through a ton of other accolades, but all of those accolades aside, I have a unique gift to teach, develop, and equip women in their personal and professional lives. I actually want to share my heart with you so that you understand why I'm here with you today. You see, my vision is to be on stages ministering the word of God to Christian women around the globe, women who have been defined by their life experiences for far too long. And these women are ready to become the women God has predestined them to be. And I do this through personal development consulting. That's my heart. What I'm really, really, really great at is hearing someone else's vision, teaching them to articulate that vision to others in a simplified way, and developing a plan that leads to them creating transformative and profitable impact. With this, my promise to you through this training is that my teachings are biblically based, they're rooted in scripture, but they also come from experience. I will share my decade of experience and my professional resume with you as it pertains to the topics we discussed today. But I also have an ask of you. My ask is that you are open to having your current views challenged and maybe even stretched. Some of this information may be new to you, or I may be sharing from a fresh perspective. So again, just be open. I also encourage you to schedule some time to watch this training over again at a later time. The reason is that you are going to be going through all of this training. And while you may be able to pause it, it's important to receive the information and then go back so that you can retain the information and then apply it at another time. And finally, my ask of you is to invite at least 3 other women to attend this training and to experience this training for themselves. If we're in agreement, let's go ahead and dive in to part 1. Part 1, clarify your vision. The first thing you need to do to establish yourself as an authority in your industry is to decide what you want to be known for. You may be skilled in many areas, and in time, you can begin to introduce your other areas of expertise. But for now, start with one focus area. The best way to approach this is to identify the one concept based on your knowledge, your skills, your experience, your expertise that you want to help others understand better. A pro tip that I can give you is that research shows that mastery comes after investing at least 10,000 hours into your trade. So consider, have you studied or have you been working in your industry for at least 10,000 hours? I say even looking at it as a 5-year investment, or ideally 7 to 10 years studying your trade. Now, there are always some exemptions, But a bonus recommendation that I have is for women of faith. For women of faith, my recommendation for you is to be sure to consult with the one who gave you your vision in the first place. So ultimately, does your vision for your life align with God's will and vision for you? I want us to dig into some of the common pitfalls people experience while trying to establish themselves as an authority in their industry. After analyzing my own experiences over the last decade in business, talking to several other subject experts, and reviewing the responses on my social media content leading up to this training, I discovered that there was a common thread of the need to overcome one's fear of success. So let's unpack this. I've come to understand that fear tends to present itself in one of two ways. There's probably others, but let's focus on the two areas. The first type of fear is the fear of failure, not achieving a particular goal. The second type of fear is the fear of success. And the fear of success is a type of fear that is not regularly discussed when addressing fear. I believe this is correlated to why many people trying to establish their industry authority run into challenges along the road because they never prepared themselves for when the fear of success or even failure arrives. I want to be sure that you are equipped to face your fear of success if or when it arrives. Let's dive deeper into this. I want you to imagine that you're standing in front of a mountain. And this mountain, your mountain, is the very thing that's keeping you from the life that God has predestined for you, the life that you desire for yourself. Now, you muster up the courage and you command this mountain to move. And it moves. What in the world do you do next? I want you to drop that in the comments. What do you do next when you command this mountain to move and it moves? I want us to take inventory of some of the responses that you're seeing below, because some people would celebrate, some people would be in shock. There's excitement. Some of us are singing our the praises. But if you look at your track record, in the past, once you commanded this mountain to move and it moved, you might have become afraid. So much so that this fear consumes you and you don't take action. So what can we do if you find yourself getting ready to step out and achieve a goal, to establish yourself as an authority in your industry? In order to overcome your fear of success, we must start by confronting imposter syndrome. But let's take a step back for a moment. Let us define what success means. I know that the definition of success may vary from one entrepreneur or corporate leader to another. So in order to establish common ground for the context of this training, success means to achieve a goal or a set of goals. Now, I have to also share that the biggest challenge that I confronted, or the lesson that I learned this year, was cleaning up the residue of my battle with imposter syndrome. If you're unfamiliar, imposter syndrome is a psychological phenomenon where a person struggles to believe that they deserve their success. A person who battles with imposter syndrome may believe that luck is what led to success rather than their own skills and qualifications. And so in order to overcome our fear of success, you must start by confronting imposter syndrome. Now, I want to invite you to consider your answers to the following questions. What exactly does success mean to you? You can go ahead and write that in your journal. What is a recent challenge that you have faced? To keep it in context of this training, think about a challenge that you have faced in the context of stepping out in your authority, reaching out to invite someone to work with you, or something, again, pertaining to you establishing your industry authority. And question number 3, have you been impacted by imposter syndrome? If so, what has this experience been like for you? With more than 70% of people experiencing imposter syndrome in their life, me being one of them, I had to identify the steps I needed to take to overcome my fear of success. And I encourage you to do the same if you are truly looking to establish yourself as an authority in your industry. You see, I identified the belief blockers that were interfering with my taking consistent action. Then I made the commitment to show up consistently every week. But I also invited my prospects to work with me. Finally, I was also transparent with my community, and I invited them along the journey as I was establishing myself as an authority, but going on a journey that was unfamiliar to me in this new season. The interesting thing that I found is that many of them resonated. They could relate with the journey that I was on, even though I was a few steps ahead of them. This is true for you as well, which is why I encourage you to identify what your belief blockers are. What habits do you need to develop, and what decisions do you need to make moving forward? I know for me, next year, I'm going to be applying more pressure. And again, I encourage you to do the same. Now that we've confronted imposter syndrome, the next thing that you're going to do is cancel comparison selection. We introduced this at the beginning of this training. I will say that comparison selection is a Blairism. My husband and I coined this term. To explain it a little bit more, comparison selection is when you are looking at what other people are doing and you're trying to replicate this process. The problem is that when you're looking at what other people are doing, you're really only seeing what's above the surface. You're not seeing what's below the surface, the years that went into it, the systems that are keeping the process moving. Those are things that you can't necessarily replicate, so you have to figure out what works for you. So consider the following. The enemy only comes to steal, to kill, and destroy. Why is this important? Why am I bringing this up when I'm telling you that it's important for you to learn to cancel comparison selection? Comparing yourself to others is a ploy of the enemy, who again is coming to steal, kill, and destroy. The enemy will do anything to attempt to lie to you, to distract you, and to convince you so that you don't keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, on God's will for your life. If you haven't read the fine print in a while, do not let him. And this is why you need to cancel comparison selection. Now it's time for you to clarify your vision. In your journal, I want you to write your response to the statement below. In this season, what have you been praying for? Specifically, write down, I have been hearing God say, it's time for me to fill in the blank. What have you been hearing God say it's time for you to do? I want us to revisit the visualization exercise that we did at the beginning of part 1. Now that we have been working through practical steps to face your fear of success. So you are back in front of this mountain. So imagine that you are back in front of this mountain, the thing that is keeping you from the life that God has predestined for you. And this time, you command the mountain to move. It moves again. What do you do next? This time, when you celebrate, when you experience excitement, when you're singing praises, I want you to remember that this is how you need to show up every single day as you are in pursuit of your life purpose. I want you to remember this. You're blessed when you get your inside world, your mind and your heart put right. Then you can see God in the outside world. You're blessed when you can show people how to cooperate instead of compete or fight. That is when you discover who you really are and your place in God's family. That's found in Matthew chapter 5, verses 8-9 in the Message translation. As we continue through this training, keep this word in your back pocket. In part 1, we discussed the importance of you deciding what it is that you want to be known for. You learned what you can do to face your fear of success, and you wrote out a one-liner to help you clarify your vision or God's vision for you that you should align with. I encourage you to take it a step further and write that one-liner down, not just in your journal, but maybe on a sticky note and post that somewhere where you will see it every single day. As a point of reflection, I encourage you to write in your journal, after discussing the need to face your fears, as you become an authority leader, what stood out to you the most from part 1? Part 2, simplify your proprietary framework. Through this process, it's essential that you keep your eyes straight ahead. Ignore all side-how distractions. Watch your step, and the road will stretch out smooth before you. Look neither to your right or to your left, and leave evil in the dust. Ultimately, this passage found in Proverbs chapter 4, verses 25-27 in the Message translation is saying, don't look to your left, to your right, compare yourself to others. Just focus on what you have in your hands. Focus on your assignment, and the road will stretch out smooth before you as well. As we discover or revamp your unique approach, you want to start with your why. Move to your what, and then explain your how. It's important to know what unique information you want to teach or introduce to others. So you have to start by asking, are you introducing your own intellectual property to them? Or are you teaching others to understand a popular concept in a fresh and practical way? So starting with your why, start by explaining the reason you want to share this concept with others. And go ahead and write this down in your journal. And then we move from your why to your what. This is where you share exactly what makes your approach different from what already exists. So again, write this down in your journal. You can take a couple notes for now and then go back and flesh the details out later. But what exactly makes your approach different from what already exists? Then you will describe how you hope to make an impact in the lives of those you serve. So you want to identify your why, your what, and your how. Let's take a moment to put this into practice. So here's your first action assignment. I want to be sure that you are prepared. So start by identifying your industry. Also, take note of what your actual goal is. As we're talking about in this training, your goal is to become an authority leader in the industry you just identified. I also want you to start thinking about your expert pillars. These pillars, usually 3 to 5 different pillars, are your talking points that will come about in the content that you create, in the live streams that you deliver, in the newsletters you write, and really any other form of content that you create. I want to give you a reminder, especially when it comes up and we're talking about content and going live and all of the things, that you know your stuff. So do not be shy now. So think of 3 to 5 expert pillars. Again, your talking points, your focus areas of everything that you are going to be creating moving forward. And what this allows you to do is keep focused as you are introducing yourself to your audience. So start with, what industry are you in? I'm in the personal development industry or the leadership development industry. So my goal would be, or is, to become an authority leader in the personal development industry. Next, you want to begin identifying your expert pillars or your talking points when it comes to content, live streams that you'll do, the newsletters that you write, really anything pertaining to content. I want to give you a bonus tip though, if you ever find yourself getting stuck when it comes to the content that you're going to be creating in the future. When it comes to getting stuck, think of the questions that people ask you. Think about the questions that you had to ask yourself along your journey to sharpen your skills, to gain additional experience and expertise, and write down those questions. This list that you can keep in your notes, but I like to use a tool called Airtable, has all of my content pillars, all content that has performed really well, questions that people ask me. So anytime I get stuck creating content, I just go back to this list and my content engine, my ideas begin flowing. And so again, at this point in time, I want you to have identified what industry you're in. Just write out that goal. My goal is to become an authority leader in said industry. And then 3 to 5 expert pillars. And those expert pillars will ultimately be your talking points when it comes to all the content that you create. Oh, one more thing. Be sure that you know that you can recycle your content, which is meaning that you can reuse your content over again. When you put it out on a social media platform or on a YouTube video or inside of a newsletter, there's going to be new people who meet you along your journey. And so don't think just because you've shared something before that you can never share it again. Some people I know share the same content every single week and the same people like it every single week and comment on it as if it's the first time they've ever seen it. So again, be sure to recycle your content. Keep that note as well. That's another bonus tip. As a bonus tip. Okay, let's continue. So what is the outcome or solution that you help or want to help your clients achieve? At the beginning of this training, I said that you're here because you want the action steps to take your years of expertise and establish yourself as an authority in your industry. Then I explained the purpose of this training, which was to prepare and get you in position to establish yourself as an authority in your industry using your own ideas and your intellect. So for starters, I spoke to why you showed up today, the reasons you were here. And two, I informed you about what we would focus on and ultimately what you should experience by the end of this training. You want to be sure that you learn how to do this for your prospective clients. And you do this through your content. So let's go to this example that you see here. When you're coming up with the outcome, the solution, or the lesson your clients will learn or achieve by working with you, consider the following. I kind of gave you a little prompt here. I help teach or train, write in that first blank, your ideal client. How to, in the second blank, is writing out the shift that you help your client achieve or the outcome you help them achieve. By, the third blank is your unique approach in order for them to, and that last blank is the desire your ideal client wants. And I know sometimes your brain can run wild here, and so I made sure to write down an example. I teach seasoned subject experts, my ideal client, how to establish themselves as an authority in their industry, the shift that I help them achieve, by leveraging their knowledge, skills, and experience, my unique approach, in order for them to make a transformative and profitable impact in the lives of others. That is the desire my ideal client wants. All right, let's get to the fun part. You just came up with a statement that is your outcome, the solution, or the lessons that your clients will learn or achieve by working with you. What's important is for you to learn how to break this down into simplified steps. So thinking of your overall outcome, break this down into step 1, step 2, and step 3. The first things that come to mind now, you may change them over time, and that's entirely okay. But I just want you to get 3 steps that lead to the outcome you had already addressed. Then you're going to take this a step further. Now it's time to create benchmarks for each of the steps you just identified. For instance, for step 1, you want to come up with 2 to 3 benchmarks for that first step. For step 2, you're going to do the same thing. And you repeat this for step 3. So by the end of this part, you should have around 9 different benchmarks, 2 to 3 benchmarks for each step. I want to give you an example. This is one of my frameworks. So my 3 steps, I actually call them phases. Phase 1 is identity restoration. Phase 2 is personal development. And phase 3 is spiritual growth. So those would be my 3 steps. My benchmarks for each of those steps, starting at phase 1, is a season of darkness and a season of Genesis. For phase 2, it's a season of change and a season of transition. And then for phase 3, spiritual growth, I have 3 benchmarks to just go alongside with that example. At this point in time, you have simplified your proprietary framework. But I want us to continue this discussion. When we focus on utilizing your framework, there's a few ways you can get your message and what you want to teach out to the world. For starters, you can write a book. What comes naturally to you may be an opportunity for you to teach others. As we discussed already, it's so important that you are intentional when selecting a topic for you to write for your book, or when you want to create a digital resource or an event, which are the other two resources we're going to discuss. And again, it's so important that you keep your audience in mind. So let's talk about why you would even want to write a book. The 3 reasons you should write a book include you having a message that you know you need to share with the world. And it's a message or a lesson that is unique to you. Reason number 2 is that your approach is necessary because, again, it's unique to you. And for some of us, the 3rd reason to write your book is because God said so. The question will likely come up, how do you write a book if you haven't done so already? And I broke it down into 5 steps. Step 1 is to start by getting a clear vision of how your readers will feel as they read through your book. I look at it like an experience. Step 2 is to write all of the steps you need to have a finished book. Step 3, you want to research and gather all of your stories that are going to go into your book. These are the stories, the lessons that you're going to be writing about. In step 4, you're going to go ahead and outline the chapters and the key ideas that are going to be in your finished book. And then step 5 is to pray and write. Now, I know there's a whole other world when it comes to publishing and marketing your book, but we're starting with writing your book. When you decide to write your book or share your story and reveal your proprietary framework to others, you are leaving a piece of your legacy behind for all of the people who come after you. But I have a challenge, but I want to encourage you, rather than waiting to leave your legacy behind, I invite and encourage you to decide to begin living the legacy that you will one day leave behind, starting today. So in your journal, write down one thing you know, something that you've experienced, or a lesson that you've learned that you want to teach others in the form of a book. What concern or fear tries to creep in when you think about writing a book? I think it's important that we write these fears and concerns down so that we can confront them head on. We already talked about overcoming your fear of success. You have to prepare for if or when that fear arises. Also take inventory of what might be stopping you from going all in and making your book a reality for you, and really the people that want to learn from you. Also, describe the feeling of turning your expertise into a book that you can later leverage to establish your authority in your industry. What feelings come up for you? Finally, list 3 to 5 people who can encourage you, pray with you, and really support you as you go on your book writing journey. The second option is to create a digital resource. Some people elect to create a digital resource rather than writing a book. Some people do both. And this may be true for you. Have you ever answered the same question over and over and over again? And this is for you, whether you are in corporate and you find yourself answering the same questions to your coworkers or even your upper management, or if you're an entrepreneur and your prospective clients keep coming back with the same question over and over and over, and you're answering the same question over again. Would you rather be able to teach the solution one time and even choose to add a tailored coaching or consulting component to your services? Let's start by taking a step back for those who may be new to the conversation of digital resources. What is a digital resource? A digital resource is any material that includes online or virtual learning. Types that I've created in the past that I think are really beneficial for today are videos, audios, ebooks, virtual events, really any web-based learning, as well as graphics, visuals, and spreadsheets serve as digital resources as well. So at this point, the most frequent question would be, where do you start? And it's to break this concept down one bite at a time. Although you have a vision to make an impact, to become an authority leader, focus on one step of this process at a time. Do not try to move ahead of where you are right now. Trust the process, and you will learn and grow along the way. I want to share this too, that digital resources serve as both touch points and entry points for your prospective clients. Lead magnets or a freebie allow you to introduce your framework to your prospects. Now, mini courses, another form of a digital resource, as well as ebooks and other virtual learning opportunities, allow your prospects to engage with you directly for a complimentary, a low, or even a mid-level investment. So when you are deciding what type of digital resource you're going to create, you want to keep this in mind. Again, the digital resource has a goal, and it's a touch point or an entry point for new people to get to know you, to learn about your framework, and to begin learning from you. That complimentary resource, giving them something for free to get a glimpse into your world, is what is known as a lead magnet or a freebie. So let's look at a couple examples of digital resources. You can create an audio or a podcast. I believe that podcasts require much more consistency and a lot of maintenance. So if that's not your choice, you can skip that and choose to create a series of audios to introduce yourself, introduce your framework, and really you can create those using your iPhone and then go ahead and share the MP3 file. Another example is a video. This could be a tutorial or a series of videos that you share. And I know some people cringe at the thought of being on camera, but I have to share with you that mastering the art of video is the best decision that you can make in a digital world. And so the recommendation that I would share with you is to come up with a blend of long form content and short form content. That long form content would be your YouTube channel, it would be a newsletter, and then that short form content would be repurposing that long form content and putting that out on social media, again, in that short form style. Another recommendation for those who are like, I'm not ready to be on live camera yet, you can also choose to pre-record your video content. And then the lead magnet, the ebook. Now, again, some people choose to create ebooks and then release it complimentary, but other people create an ebook and then have a price tag attached to it. And so you can choose what works best for you and your audience. And the third way for you to get your proprietary framework out to the world is through hosting an event experience. When you host an event experience, you have a unique opportunity to bring people together from completely different worlds. Now, you can host a small event, which it could be a 5-person mastermind, or have a conference experience with hundreds or thousands of people. It's entirely your choice. Again, I do not want you to be overwhelmed when you're coming up with an event idea, but I want you to know that you have options. But 2 platforms. One is creating virtual events. Virtual events are really common, especially after a global pandemic. Virtual events allow you to create a digital event. I listed out some pros and cons for you, and you can see them here. The same thing for in-person events. In-person events allows you to create a unique human experience. I'm a hugger, so I love the in-person events, but today, virtual events, when I speak and teach, allow me to reach other people across the globe. So if that's a desire for you, you can consider one option over the other, or you can choose to have a blend of both. So looking at some of the pros and cons. So for the virtual events, a few of the pros are being able to repurpose that digital recording from that virtual event. And you can sell it as a digital resource, which we just got done discussing. You can chop parts of that virtual recording and put that out as social media content as well. The cost to host a virtual experience is likely going to be less than an in-person event. Now, one of the cons, it's not in person. And some that I've attended, some virtual events I've attended, have had very serious tech issues. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying that for you to be aware. For the in-person events, some of the pros are creating a live, engaged audience. The interesting thing is, for those of you who have in-person events, you can still record those in-person events, and you can have those recordings available for purchase at a later date as well. Some of the cons would be having higher expenses for this in-person event and possibly a lower profit. But that doesn't have to be the case. Again, just wanting you to be aware of some of the pros and cons. The main objective when it comes to hosting an event is for you to remember that events are experiences designed to leave a lasting impact. So if having an event is something that you'd be interested in, let's go ahead and begin to visualize this to see if it can become a reality for you. To start out, describe the vision of an event that you have or you would like to create. Just write that down in your journal. You can also select the type of event you want to have. I know I said it could be a small mastermind or a large conference. I want you to think about this. It can be a workshop, a seminar, a retreat, a program initiative, a book release party, a tour, meaning multiple speaking engagement for a certain amount of time. You can have a forum. You can have a meeting, a training, a boot camp. You can have a convention. You can have an expo where not only you are present, but you're bringing other experts and you're gathering together. And then you're inviting a particular audience to come and be a part of the experience as well. And then some more specific events would be like a product launch, similar to a book release party, or a fundraiser. But there's other types of events and gatherings as well. So think from this list. So grab from this list or identify another event that would be suitable for the vision that you have. Next, I want you to think about the type of support you need. Now, I didn't give you a list here because events are really unique to the individual creating the event and the vision and outcome of the event that you desire to have. So just think about some of the things that you need. This would lead into step 4. These are specific items that you might need for your event. And again, whether this would be people, whether it would be resources, whether it would be ultimately looking for other people to join you in your vision, whether it's speakers, a team, volunteers, begin to think about what you might need, what items you might need for your event. Now let's recap. In part 2, we covered your unique approach, 3 ways to package your expertise, and ultimately, how to simplify your framework. As another reflection, I want you to write down in your journal a response to this question. After discussing your unique approach or your proprietary framework, what stood out to you the most? Another way to respond to part 2 of this training is to consider what stood out to you the most about learning to leverage your knowledge, your skills, and expertise by way of writing a book, creating a digital resource, or hosting an event. We have made it to part 3, where we're talking all about testifying, getting quality people to testify about you, getting your clients raving about you. I know there's at least one person who's going to say, I don't have any clients. No clients, no problem. Think about how you can get others to testify about you. I want you to consider who knows firsthand what you can do. I encourage you to get this captured in writing, or better yet, get it captured in video. Another way is to share the stories of others. Think about where they were before working with you and where they are after learning from you. These are called case studies. This is where you share the story of a before and after working with you or someone applying your framework. I do want to give you another bonus tip. You can be your own case study. This is where you would share where you were before achieving the result you now help your clients achieve, and where you are after learning those particular lessons. The third way to get quality people to testify about you is the one that tends to send chills down many women authority leaders' spines. And this is to begin tooting your own horn. I would totally make everyone uncomfortable if I were in a live setting right now and I would have people start tooting out loud, but we're not going to do that here because I can't see you. But nonetheless, when we're talking about tooting your own horn, this is singing your own praises. And I get it. It can be challenging for many people. I will say that this is not the time for false humility. It is not the time for playing small. I say this because I know both of those very well. I want you to remember, you are free to stand in your authority now. And you can do this because you can share, one, who you have worked with in the past. You can share the results that you have achieved or the results that you've helped others achieve. As well, you can even share how long you've been learning, growing, and gaining experience in your particular industry. I think it's important that I should just go ahead and share some examples of each of these 3 ways to establish yourself as an authority in your industry. But before I go into some of these examples, I do want to share with you a quick story. I'd like to invite you to come down memory lane with me so that we can really drive these 3 points home. A few years back, I applied to participate in a business development program with an internationally renowned organization. And I really, really wanted this opportunity. And I received the letter in the image that you see here. When I received this letter and I read the words, "We regret to inform you," I knew what came after that, and I was defeated. But then this happened. A few days later, I received a phone call with a person from the organization apologizing profusely. And I have to be honest, with a little bit of a neck roll and a hint of attitude, I asked her for clarification because I had no clue what she was talking about. The representative said that while I wasn't selected for the program, I inserted another eye roll there. She tells me that I should have received a second email inviting me to be one of the community leads for the program that I applied to. That's the message that you see here. The words are what stuck with me. She said, after reviewing your application, you are completely overqualified to participate, but we'd like to hire you as a consultant. Because I was on the phone, I was trying to hold back the tears, but what I'll share with you is that this was my first 5-figure client. Let's continue. At this point, I want to share several examples of testimonials from training participants who say things like, it's like you're slapping us and shaking us so that we get it, so that we grow. Testimonials from conference attendees who have shared, here you get all of those things. You get the mindset portion, you get the heart work done. It's for so many elements of wherever you're at on your journey, business or personal. You also want to gather and share the client stories. Before joining one of my programs, Tonda was already an established education and parenting strategist. She had years of experience facilitating her proprietary curricula with organizations, with schools, as well as associations. However, Tonda came to me because she faced a challenge. Although she was booking engagements fairly often, she was not bringing in the revenue she believed she should, and her client list at the time believed that Tonda should be facilitating free trainings since she was teaching kids and parents. What I did share is that I agreed and affirmed Tonda that she has something so valuable. And what we did together was create a vision plan to update her facilitator rates and begin leveraging strategic partnerships so that she can continue to make a transformative impact. But using this plan that we created, she can now begin making a profitable one. What you see here is Tonda's response after working with me. I share this with you because these testimonials can go on and on. But sometimes you have to make the ask. This way, you can have clients leaving reviews or sharing testimonials all over the World Wide Web, on LinkedIn, on Google. Some people still use Yelp. I don't know if that's always going to be the case, but nonetheless, sometimes you just have to make the ask. I encourage you to document your journey when working with the clients. So when you help your clients achieve a goal, you can share the story with others. Also, when you're documenting the process, this will allow you to go back and update your curricula as you continue to learn and grow as well. Another place you can gather testimonials is during your live events. And what I like to do is pull people aside and invite them to share their experience on the spot. I don't wait till the end of the training. I don't send a survey only when they get back home into their regular environments. I do it when the emotions and the feelings are live. Those are some of the best times to capture testimonials through your life experiences. So at this point, you've seen testimonials and case studies that can be in written form, or they can be video testimonials like this.
Secure the business, or when you're looking to get the business, the importance of retaining the business and those relationships to make sure that you keep that contract as long term. just being in the collective of these women has allowed me to get a little more insight and kind of see the light a little bit more at the end of the tunnel. So I really appreciate everything that Margot does with her team and all the social media, like everything. She pours out everywhere for everyone. And this is just the icing on the cake.
So many amazing women, and most importantly, got a chance to see Margot in action and to see how phenomenal. I already knew she was, but got to see how she operates and how she's such a blessing to the community and to her network.
I have learned things about myself as well as how I can be a better champion for myself, as well as for my community. And the hope is to just put some of the thoughts and dreams and visions out of my head and into action.
So here you get all of those things. You get the mindset portion, you get the heart work done. Super dynamic experience. It's not just like for one thing. It's for so many different elements of wherever you're at in your journey, business or personal.
We were able to network with individuals who are in marketing, business similar to us, and also individuals who are outside of our world so that we can make those type of connections and really evolve in this world. Big shout out to Margot. You created an amazing event, a great community of women were here.
But I just wanted to thank Margot for creating this opportunity and this space to allow us to constantly re-encourage ourselves and encourage other people to continue to be in action and to live and work on purpose.
Now, before you say, I don't have a videographer, I don't have a video editor, I've been on my journey for more than a decade. I will also say that today, I still use my iPhone, iMovie, and Canva to record and edit a lot of my videos. So you don't have to have the latest and greatest tech and tools to capture these experiences. Again, you must be willing to use what you have in your hands right now. And remember, you also have to be willing to toot your own horn. When you're tooting your own horn, it is the opportunity to get people to know that you know you're an authority leader in your industry. For instance, what you see here are a few examples of articles that I've contributed to. I want to encourage you to remember this. You have in your hands what you need to make a transformative and profitable impact in the lives of others. I want to show you one more thing, because I know mainly the online gurus often say, if I can do it, you can too. I try not to say this. However, I do want to show you the fruit of betting on yourself, because that's ultimately what we've been talking about this entire training. This one article is one to which I submitted. Notice the topic is about podcast equipment. I want to share, at the time, I did not have an active podcast. I want you to take a closer look at the responses to guess which one is mine. Now, those of you who know me well will guess fairly quickly. And I just want to ask if you guessed right. If you don't take anything away from this training, I want to share with you the 3 key lessons. 1, when I contributed to this article, I did not have an active podcast at the time. 2, my response allowed me to operate in my zone of genius. So we're talking about leadership development, personal development. And so I brought forth a conversation around commitment, trusting the longevity of your process. Every other person talked about a piece of equipment that you need for your podcast, for running your podcast. And number 3, the third lesson I want to share with you is they picked me anyway. And because I'm noticing it now, those other tabs that you see at the top, those are all other features in news articles and Forbes and SCORE, which is a business development, several others. As I shared these testimonials and I shared the video testimonials, I talked about client case studies. These lessons are the ones that I want to make sure that you retain. I want to teach you how to do this too. I want to teach you how to go out and begin getting press and media features as well. Now, people have called me crazy for giving this training away for free, but I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to give you my source for getting several of these media features. And my source is Turkle. Why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because I trust my teaching and my consulting so much that I'm willing to give you every single thing that you need to start on your own right after this training. If I'm being honest, I actually texted the CEO the other day, and there is no affiliate link. So I'm literally giving this entire training away, my source without an affiliate link or affiliate partner link. So at the time of this training, I'm not getting paid to encourage you to go and sign up for Turkle. And I'm giving all of this away without you hiring me as your authority leadership consultant or investing into one of my e-learning resources. Why? Because I want to be sure that if or when you decide to work with the A&B team, you will show up to work with us prepared. When you show up prepared, you will be in position to expedite your learning process and do the work required of you to achieve the results that you desire. So let's recap part 3. In part 3 is all about getting others to testify about you. You learned about sharing the stories of others and the one that sends chills down many people's spines, but not yours anymore, right? You learned the importance of tooting your own horn. I want to give you this reminder again. You have in your hands what you need to make a transformative impact in the lives of others. In your journal, write your response to the following question. After learning about gathering social proof or case studies describing the quality of your work, what stood out to you the most? We have made it to part 4 of the Born to Make an Impact training. Now it's time for you to analyze what is next for you. As we're preparing to land the plane, I have a few questions that I'd like us to unpack. I'd like to know, do you believe that you have everything you need in your authority leadership toolkit? Or are you gapped in any of the 3 areas we discussed today? Clarity in your vision, simplifying your framework, or getting quality people to testify about you? Are you gapped in any of those areas? I want you to examine these questions because the concepts we have discussed today are all part of my proprietary framework, the Impact Maker Method. Step 1, clarify your vision. Step 2, simplify your proprietary framework. And step 3, testify about your authority. In this training, while I introduced or shared a fresh perspective to each of these topics, I am following my signature method that I have been implementing and refining over the last decade. The big question now is, how can you apply the Impact Maker Method to your own professional life? I would like to extend an invitation to you to continue diving deeper into your authority leadership journey with me and the A&B team. I'm excited to introduce to you Elevate. Although you can take what you've learned here today and begin to establish yourself as an authority in your industry, I would like to invite you to learn and grow with me. If you'd rather have guidance on this path to authority leadership, I want to invite you to become a private client inside Elevate. Elevate is a private client experience focusing on authority leadership consulting for seasoned subject experts. You were created to make a significant imprint in this world. Through Elevate, you will package your expertise into a step-by-step framework, design an impact maker implementation plan, and launch your signature event, your first book, and/or your first digital resource to the world. Let's talk about what's included inside Elevate. To start, you receive access to the Impact Maker bundle, which is encompassing 8+ resources and done for you customizable templates. You will be able to design an Impact Maker implementation plan that will grow as you do. You will launch your signature event, your first book, and/or your first digital resource. You will also receive weekly implementation and action assignments. You will have access to monthly trainings with me and my team. You will also have access to a private authority leadership community. And something that I'm super excited about is that you will have access to an annual self-care and personal growth plan and a client training that is exclusive for our private clients. But here's the thing. You will have the option to join us in person because we're going to be hosting this training live. Well, hybrid, because for those who can't join us, they'll be able to join us online. The most common question is, what is this worth? I believe the question you're asking at this stage of your professional journey is something else, though. The question isn't, what is this worth to you? It's, how can this work for you? And this is the question you need to ask yourself. I want to stay here for a moment. The question isn't whether you will make your money back. It's how many times you will be able to do it as you align with the vision for your personal and professional life. If we're honest, are you currently seeing your desires in your life? Yes or no? Are you utilizing the gifts, the talents, the resources that you have right now in your hands? Or are you waiting for the right time, more resources, or other people to come alongside you in order for you to step out to make your impact and become an authority in your industry? The reason, the question you should be asking is, how can this work for you, is based on whether you are living the life that you have been predestined for. If the answer is no to any of the questions above, I encourage you to take time after this training, before returning to your day, to just sit, be in the presence of God, and ask Him to show you what is His will for you in this current or next season. At this time, I want to invite you to make an informed decision. We have covered an in-depth overview of the 3 components of the Impact Maker method. You can either take what you've learned today and go out and build it on your own, or decide to invest into your professional development journey and have my team and I in step with you as you establish yourself as an authority in your industry. The investment in full is $6,000 at the time of this training. We do, however, understand the importance of flexible installment options. With this, we also decided to create installment plans. This allows you to choose to begin your journey with a monthly investment of $600. The monthly installment is a 12-month contract that can be paid off early without penalty. As a bonus for early payoff, we will grant the $6,000 pay in full tuition when the installments are paid in full within the first 6 months of you getting started with us inside of Elevate. I am so grateful that you joined me for today's training. And as a final call, this is my formal invitation for you to apply to Elevate Authority Leadership Consulting so that you can take your next step on your authority leadership journey, working with my team and I by your side as you expedite your learning process and become an authority leader in your industry. I want to congratulate you on taking your first next step on your professional development journey. Thank you for allowing me to guide you along the way. I pray that we have the opportunity to continue your authority leadership journey together inside of Elevate, or that I get the chance to see you dive in to the Impact Maker Bundle. Be sure to share your experience with the training link below. Again, thank you. I am Margot Blair, your partner in personal growth. Until next time, God bless.